Okay, so, there has been so much conversation about what has been happening in Iran. You've been talking about it. But before I go into the politics of it and what you have been speaking about, I want to go back to that 8-year-old girl who left Iran. For those of you who don't know, Elnaaz was born in Iran, and then her parents had to leave when she was 8 years old. She's been brought up in Germany, and now she's working in India. I want you to tell us what that Iran was like. There's a lot of conversation about what Iran was like and how it is today, but not many of us know what it was like that time when you were there. So take us through that, the eyes of that 8-year-old Elnaaz. What did she see there?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for finding it important to hear an Iranian voice that was born there, that lived there, that still has family there, because I think in today's day especially, this is very, very important. Going back to the time when I was born in Iran, when I was born under a dictatorship, for us back then it was of course very normal. Everything that was happening was normal in the sense of what everyday life is. But the more I grew up and the more I started understanding, of course when I was around 4 or 5 years old, the conversations about leaving the country, fleeing the country had already started in my family. I used to remember how my dad and my mom would constantly talk about where to go, Canada, Germany, And then I remember I turned 6 and I started going to school. And the first thing on the first day of school that they made us do was line up in school and chant "Death to America." This is something that I did not understand back then in that time. And I was always wondering, why are we chanting "Death to America"? And what is America, right? As a 6-year-old, you don't really know what's America, right? So I was very fortunate to come back home to a family that understood that this is not what we want. We don't wish death to America. We don't wish death to Israel, and we don't wish death to anybody. This is not what we know. So I grew up with that understanding, and I know that a lot of other Iranians also had those families, which is why now, after 47 years, you still see Iranians standing up against this regime and saying, this is not what we want. So this is what happened in school, and I would always retaliate. I was always a rebellion. I always thought, I'm not going to wish death to anybody, And I would be beaten up in school. I changed, in the 2 years that I went to school in Iran, I think I changed 3 schools because my mom did not have it. My mom did not like anybody beating her child up just because she was not wishing death to America. It was a terrible time, even with the little that I understood as a 6 or 7-year-old. And then, of course, we fled Iran. My dad tried going to Canada first. It didn't work out. And then we chose Germany. And I just remember the time when we were in Germany, we had to flee. We were seeking asylum in Germany. And I had a time in my life, which is when I was around 8, 9, 10 years old, where I was living in a refugee camp, because that's what was given to us. And that was the only thing that was saving us from the country that we had to flee because we were not feeling safe there.